Over in the pages of DC Comics, the publisher is currently releasing a robust slate of Green Lantern comic book series. The main comic book, starring Hal Jordan locked in a battle with Sinestro, has been enthralling, and I've also enjoyed some of the period piece retrospective aspects that Alan Scott's new comic book series has lent. However, my personal favorite among some of DC's brand new Green Lantern books is none other than Green Lantern War Journal starring John Stewart. So far in John Stewart's main title, we've really seen him go up against the threats of the Radiant Dead and Revenant Queen. My name is Ariko Braddock, and today let's go ahead and see if John Stewart is finally going to rise up against some of his other multiversal lanterns and take on this brand new threat. But before we get deeper into the video, I want to encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button over on this video. Who is Lantern Shepherd? John Stewart has had his first battle with a deadly new adversary and is affected by the Radiant Dead. Will his powers help slow the spread of this supernatural contagion, or are they transforming him into one of the most terrifying hosts imaginable? And who is the powerful young Green Lantern from within the multiverse, Lantern Shepherd? Green Lantern War Journal issue 3 is still written from Phillip Kennedy Johnson, featuring artwork from Montos. We have colors from Adriano Lucas, letters from Dave Sharpe, and a gorgeous cover also coming in from Montos, really showing John Stewart locked in a combat scenario over with some bears who are seemingly infected by the threat of the Radiant Dead over in the issue here. Want to extend a quick thank you to Adventures in Poor Taste and preview our opening pages coming in directly from Montos. Really think it's incredibly versatile how Montos is able to lay out some of these pages. I absolutely love the way that some of the bleeds and the oddly shaped panels just really closely immerse readers within the narrative here. I thought these first couple pages were just a wonderful way to check back on the cliffhanger from the last issue, as John has seemingly been infected over from the Radiant Dead. The way that John tries to navigate this situation, as well as fighting back against this Green Lantern character, is so harrowing. One of my favorite parts about Green Lantern War Journal is all the cryptic ways this series has been building up to the Revenant Queen. I absolutely love this quote in the last panel from this member of the Radiant Dead who's saying, "My queen will be so pleased with me." Also, I think the way that Montos is able to introduce some of these elements of the Queen's hair in the background just help make this panel so incredibly ominous here. Over on this double page spread, I really like how you get to see some of the different artistic showcases over from Montos's line. I also have to hand it to color artist Adriano Lucas. The way that the art team uses negative space in the background to kind of bolster and prepare these narratives is so arresting here. I also found it incredibly intriguing how John Stewart is trying to fight back against the Radiant Dead while he's corrupted himself. And this causes so many fascinating plot elements in the issue and even gives way to the introduction of the character of Shepherd. Shepherd was a lantern introduced in the pages of the Green Lantern series within the backup here, really getting to see Shepherd interact with John after we've seen so many comic book issues building up to their big confrontation is just really enthralling here. It was so cathartic to see these two individuals finally meet up with each other after all this time. I really like how Shepherd was a little bit dismayed by the fact that John Stewart has currently quit the Corps and is just trying to live a low-key life over with his mother and family within the comic book series. As we mentioned up top, this is finally the comic book tale where John Stewart is looking to rise up and fight alongside some of his multiversal Green Lantern family, which he's just sort of introduced to over within the chapter. I really find it ambitious with all these different plot threads that Phillip Kennedy Johnson is exploring within the pages of Green Lantern War Journal. I love right now how the DC Universe is working with so many different implementations with the character of John Henry Irons, also known as Steel. The relationship over between John and his mother has been one of the most important character relationships across Green Lantern War Journal. I think Phillip Kennedy Johnson does a phenomenal job really devoting the amount of scenes needed to pay off this relationship and move Green Lantern War Journal off into its next phase. It really feels like this is the beginning of an incredibly epic story where John is finally going to get to team up with some multiversal characters and take on these really large scale threats. But I think one thing Johnson is so great at is just making sure the emotion is present on the page and that there's some real lasting character relationships and dynamics here. To me, it feels like if anything happens to John Stewart at this point, that there could be some big consequences over for his family here. I'm really finding myself more invested in the John Stewart as a character than I ever have been, thanks to this brand new Green Lantern series. I've also really loved how this comic book specifically has tried to flesh out John as a civilian as opposed to a soldier here. However, now the script is being flipped, and in future issues, we're going to get to know the more combative side of John over in Green Lantern War Journal. So at the end of the day here, I think this was just a phenomenal issue of Green Lantern War Journal, really establishing all these different threats and characters in some really, really fascinating ways. I'm loving how all the different lanterns are introduced in their different multiversal outfits. I thought some of the characters that we didn't reveal over in our review were so fascinating and lent just a really interesting sense of place over to the world of Green Lantern War Journal. I hope that moving forward, Phillip Kennedy Johnson will just continue to introduce even more threats from alternate realities. And I think Montos' line is another one of the best aspects about this comic book title, too. I can never quite guess how Montos is going to be able to capture a situation, but I think alongside the colors of Adriano Lucas, there's just so many fascinating page layouts, there's so many interesting confrontations, and I feel like I'm always scratching my head wondering what's going to happen next over in this comic book title. I want to know from you. Did you enjoy Green Lantern War Journal issue 3 as much as I did? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for coming to check out our video review on Green Lantern War Journal, and we'll be back to see where this series is headed in the near future. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.